What is going on, guys? Thank you for coming back to another review on the Culture Wave Media Network. We're doing a micro review of Gore Verbinski's Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. This has a great cast attached. This is a wide release. It's a big movie that is starting the year out strong. It's probably the biggest movie to start the year so far, and 2026 has a lot of big blockbusters on its hands. But this is a very relevant topic. It surrounds itself with AI. It surrounds itself with zombification through phones and social media. It dabbles in time travel and comedy and a great ensemble of wacky tones and heroic characters and plots and elaborate schemes that just go on such a ride. And this is Gore Verbinski's first movie since A Cure for Wellness. That was in 2016. He's probably best known for his work in Pirates of the Caribbean, but Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die is, it's something that almost feels like it's oriented towards a gaming community, but it's also with adult messaging, and it's something that's really fun. Sam Rockwell continues to be one of my favorite working actors today. The last thing that I saw him in personally was the White Lotus last season. He had a great guest starring role in a couple of episodes, and a lot of people remember his monologue and a few of his other scenes in that show. But ever since his Oscar win with Three Billboards, everybody has kind of had him on his radar for just the awards talk. What can this guy do? Is he a leading man? Is he a great supporting character? And I think Sam Rockwell really does fit into any mold that he gets. So in this film, he plays the man from the future, and that is what his role is titled on IMDb. But he is in such a great cast. He comes into a diner, time traveling from the future. These are not spoilers. These are all the trailer. But he comes and time travels, comes into this diner, scares all these people and says, "I'm here from the future. This is the moment that the world starts to go to crap." And he has to assemble a task force of unlikely heroes to take down the beginnings of AI before it becomes evil. So he recruits Juno Temple, Haley Lou Richardson, Michael Pena, Zazie Beetz, Asim Chandri, Tom Taylor. There's Georgia Goodman. There's a lot of other newcomers along with people who have been established for a while. Michael Pena is another name that comes to mind. He's been in so many great supporting roles over the years, and I've loved all of his work that he brings. He is such a good comedic character, and a lot of people loved him in Ant-Man, and he's just been around the block in so many different movies, and he can bring dramatic force with comedic tones. Haley Lou Richardson is a up-and-coming rising star. She had a big breakout in White Lotus as well. Zazie Beetz was in Joker, I believe, a couple of years ago, and she's also coming onto the scene, and she's floating around in another good role in this movie too. And then Juno Temple has been around for a very long time, and she had a great role in Fargo recently, but she's been established. She plays a good leading lady in this movie as well. But going back to the plot of this film, Gore Verbinski does things that are a little on the nose, but they're also done pretty well for something that deals with AI and social media and cell phones. Some movies, they turn me off to that when it comes to, okay, let's bring in text messages from a bully, or so how is social media taking a hold on a character's psychosis. But in this film, it's very visually done. It's a matter of mind control at certain points. It's a matter of manipulation, really, is the main point. And then AI and how it can be manipulated to putting out misinformation, putting out control, putting out false information. It takes its own turns in the story in many different ways. But AI, now that it faces or AI is the danger that a lot of the industries are facing these days. And what does that mean for job loss? And what does that mean for entertainment? And I think Gore is really trying to bring in a lot of great messaging here through comedy as well. Rockwell is just somebody that captivates you every scene that he's in. He almost feels like a Jack Sparrow in the sense of he is both incredibly dumb, but he is the only person that is suited for this situation. There are so many avenues where you believe that he is just a complete idiot, but he's actually 3 steps ahead of everybody. And it's so fun to watch him work. He has a great origin story that is later on in the movie. And I think that Rockwell, he just always brings an incredible sensitivity to his roles. I don't want to say that this movie is the deepest origin story for his character, but it does have a great motivation for him to time travel back to the past. He has a lot of connection to how the AI took over and a personal tie that I won't get into, but Rockwell just has a very good judgment at balancing comedy with drama. And there are moments where he is just aloof and whimsical, and then he can lock in and grab your attention with the camera and just say, hey, like, we have to focus up, this is a serious life or death situation. And I think Gore does that very well in his direction, as he has an ensemble to juggle. There are a lot of backstories for each of his ensemble characters. Both are, there's, I think, 3 or 4 ensemble characters that get their specific origin, and I like how they all come in with different vantage points, and they have to meet at this one point and explain their importance for why they were the ones chosen to leave the diner with Sam Rockwell. It's a very creative movie, and it's something that the comedy alone keeps you engaged. I think there's a lot of dystopian movies that fail on this level of keeping your attention because the characters are not very interesting. They feel a little too stereotypical. Another film that comes to mind is Terminator 2, or just Terminator in general. There's a lot of nods to that in this film, and especially with the time travel and the nods to Skynet and how computers took over in that series. There is a lot of emblematic moments in this movie that pay reference to those films. But I think what those films do very well too is they create great protagonists. This film creates a great protagonist in Sam Rockwell, and then all of the supporting cast have their own interesting backstories as well as their charisma, and they all gel very well on screen together. And I think a lot of other dystopian dramas, they have very black and white, simple, diluted supporting characters where there is just a super jacked supporting army guy, and then there is the general that is very by the book and laying down the law. You know, there are very simple characters in other dystopian films, and very like simple good and evil archetypes. But in this one, it's nice to keep you engaged because you don't know who to trust. You're interested to learn more about this person, the importance of why is this person different from the other one. Haley Lou Richardson has a different specific character trait that keeps you guessing throughout the movie about what her role is in the entire story. So there is a lot of great stuff to pay attention to in the movie, along with the main sinister plot. But yeah, Gore Verbinski is also just another director who can really hold your attention with his spectacle. And I think he's not somebody that overdoes it like Michael Bay or Zack Snyder. And he is there for the narrative itself first, too. He's somebody who really has an understanding of how do we balance action with our tone of our story. And he doesn't stray into doing spectacle just for spectacle's sake. He likes to do that based off of his characters, put them in unconventional circumstances, and then try and elaborate on that and give them an extreme circumstance to combat. So I think that Gore has a good understanding of all of those things. That being said, some of my cons for the movie, I think, come towards the second half. The first half, I was very engaged. There's a lot of great banter and dialogue. The stakes are very large from what Sam Rockwell is talking about, but it also feels very contained, and that holds my attention a little bit better. But then as more of the AI unravels throughout the film, there begins to feel like the barriers of the world just open up, and there doesn't seem like there are any limitations of how this ordinary group of people could defeat such a impossible antagonist with AI and computers, and the kid that is behind all of the computer technician work. So it feels like once they reach a certain point, it gets so wacky and zany. I think that it's impossible to come back down to reality. But that being said, I also do really like how Gore is not afraid to go as far as he does. There's a lot of great jokes that come about because of AI's combination and the obstacles that are put in front of Sam Rockwell and his crew of people. So I think it's really a matter of balancing, how do we go so far with this in such a sci-fi that is almost limitless, and then come back down to reality. So I think that is something that dystopian movies really struggle with. Things that are like nuclear war, or if there is, something like Blade Runner, how far are we willing to expand and push the needle before it kind of breaks for the audience where it suspends belief entirely. I think that the characters are the most believable parts of the movie, and they are the most worthy part of the movie. And for me, I was very sympathetic to the small group of characters that we were a part of. I could care less about the world building and the save the world trope that comes across in so many of these movies. I cared more about what was happening to just the handful of people that were attached. So I think that this was a great fun time. It's something that I would recommend to check out because it's early in the year. This is probably one of the better movies out right now. Gore Verbinski for me has never disappointed me. I think that he is not very polarizing as a filmmaker. You almost know what you're going to get from his films, but he also keeps you very entertained, and he doesn't give you something that is super basic either. He gives you something that is entertaining, and then you leave the movie questioning certain things about society and like where can we make our changes with our technology and how we need to put our foot down for stopping certain parts of AI or morally challenging the audience a little bit. So I think that Gore has a great understanding of that. Sam Rockwell, fantastic in everything that he's in. I would recommend people go see the movie just for him because he's fantastic and he's one of the more fun characters that I've seen in a movie in a long time. And I think we need more performances like Sam's performance in this movie, especially in action movies, but he's very good in this movie. Haley Lou Richardson, I appreciate her work a lot, but I wasn't necessarily vibing with her performance in this movie. I don't know if it was just a personal preference, but I think that it could have been a little bit better. There's a big backstory that I won't get into, but I felt like some of her acting chops were not super sharp in certain situations, and then she could have added a little bit more depth to her performance. I'm not sure if that was a directing thing or an acting thing, but I don't know if this was the type of role that she was fit for. And I think she's a great actress, but I don't know if this was her role exclusively. But that being said, too, the ensemble was great. I would recommend all of these actors for so many more things. I want to see them in more things. Michael Pena is another guy. I want him to be in so many more things. Juno Temple is also so great. But yeah, that's my final thoughts on Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. And I recommend that if you guys are interested, please check it out. Won't be on streaming for a little while, but make sure you go see it in a theater. It is worth the theater experience. For more reviews and updates, be sure to follow us on Instagram at CinemaWave Media and at Culture Wave Media. And we are on TikTok. We are on YouTube. We are very close to 1,000 subscribers, so please help us keep pushing our goal. Thank you, and subscribe to this video, and we will see you next time.
This is The Culture.